Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Bhagavad Gita 2.7, 11 March 2nd, 1966, New York. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple, and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Now Arjuna is perplexed. He is perplexed in the matter whether to fight or not to fight. That was his perplexity. After seeing his relatives in front of him with whom he was to fight, he was perplexed. And there was some argument also with Krishna. Krishna, of course, did not encourage him. Now here is a point, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is that? What is this book, young man? Well, this is the translation of the Bhagavad Gita. Well, no, you can hear me. I am hearing. Yes, don't turn your attention. Just hear me. Krishna, although he is present there, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but still, he did not encourage him. From worldly point of view, when somebody says that I give it up. I don't want it. I don't want to fight with my friends or my relatives. Better let them enjoy. I shall forego my claim. From worldly point of view, this is a very, gentlemanly behavior that one is foregoing his claim for the matter of his relatives or friends. But Krishna is not encouraging that proposal. We have to mark it. Krishna is not encouraging. Krishna is rather inducing Arjuna that it is not a very good proposal. It is not befitting your position. You belong to the Aryan family. You belong to the Kshatriya royal family, and you are denying to fight. No, this is not good, and I am your friend. I have taken the responsibility of your chariot driver, and if you do not fight, what people will say. So he is not encouraging. Just see, now here is a good proposal from the worldly point of view that Arjuna does not want to fight and Krishna is not encouraging him. Now what is the point? Somebody may say that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why he is encouraging in the matter of fighting. People at the present moment, when there is a question of war, people want to stop that war. At the present moment, the movement is going on between all nations that they do not want war. But here we see that Krishna is not discouraging war. We have to mark this point. He is not discouraging war, but he is rather advocating, inducing Arjuna that no, this is not befitting your position. You must fight. So here is a point that sometimes we may do something which is approved by the general public, but it may not be approved by the supreme authority. Superficially, it may appear very appealing to the sentiment of the public, but factually such thing may not be correct. If we accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and why he was inducing Arjuna to fight, it does not mean that he was inducing Arjuna to do something wrong. But from worldly point of view, Arjuna was a very pious man, and he was declining to fight, not to kill his kinsman, not to kill his friend. This is a very important point. So he argued, no. If I fight, my people will die, and their wives will become widow, and they will be adulterated, and then by adulteration, unwanted population will increase, and who will offer Shraddha? There is a ceremony of Shraddha according to Hindu scripture. I do not know whether you have in your Christian religion, but according to Hindu, a dead body is offered some respect every year. Just like death anniversary observed, similarly in the family, the descendant, they offer some foodstuff after some religious ceremony. That is called Shraddha, and it is believed that that offering goes to the dead forefathers. So that is a family religious ceremony. So Arjuna said that if these people will die, who will offer that ablution to the forefathers? So from ordinary point of view, from the point of view of a family man, he argued with Krishna in so many ways. And after at the end, he decided that I cannot fight. Then Krishna tried to induce him, and he said that yes, whatever you are saying, that I am a Kshatriya, and I am not doing my duty. This is all right, but my mind is perplexed. So he was at the same time conscious that Sri Krishna only can make a solution of this perplexity. So he said, now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me means a miserly man. miserly man. He was conscious of the fact that he was a great hero, he was a great fighter, and at the same time, the enemies were there. So his actual duty was to fight with the enemy. They were offering fight. For a kshatriya, there are some obligations. If somebody challenges that I want to fight with you, a kshatriya cannot deny. If somebody challenges, yes, I want to bet with you gambling, a kshatriya cannot deny. And for that reason, the Pandavas lost their kingdom. The other side, his cousins, offered them that, all right, let us come to betting. So betting, the bid was they offered the kingdom. Now if you defeated, if you are defeated, then you lose your kingdom. So they lost their kingdom. Then the next offer was that if you are defeated, you lose your wife. So they lost their wife. And similarly they were put, now this time if you are defeated, you have to go to the forest for 12 years. So there was a great plan behind them, and the Pandavas were defeated in so many ways, and they were harassed, embarrassed for not less than 20 years. And now they were to fight, face to face. Now he is not prepared to fight. That means he has become miserly, means he is deviating from his duty. Now, so he is conscious that practically I am deviating from my duty. This is my miserly behavior. Donya means it is a fault on my part. I should not have deviated from this fighting, but my sentiment does not allow me to fight with my kinsman. So here is a perplexity. So not only I'm miserly, but I am deviating from my duty, dharma. Dharma. This dharma means according to different position. Just like Brahmaya, the intellectual society, the Kshatriyas, the administrator society, the Vaisyas, the mercantile society, and the Shudras. Shudras means the laborer class. So these four divisions are always, now you can name in a different way, that doesn't matter. But in every society and for all time, these divisions are there. So according to Vedic system, this system is observed by generation. So he was a Kshatriya. Now Kshatriya's duty was to fight with the enemy. And he was not executing that, injunction. Therefore he is conscious that dharma samuachato. Oh, I am deviating from my religion also. It is the duty of Kshatriya. So I am now perplexed. So yakre nichitam, now you should kindly, definitely say. Now here is a position. I do not understand what is to be done. You kindly, yakre oshan nichitam. Nichitam means definitely what is right. Britam, now, Krishna can say, well, I have already saying you that you should fight, but you are not carrying out the order. So he says that now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now, I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please, instruct me. So he accepted that, all right, whatever arguments we have done so far, let us forget that. Now, I accept you as my spiritual master, not my friend. Now, the idea of accepting spiritual master, that is also very obligatory. You see, as soon as you accept one as the spiritual master, first of all, we have recorded in you have heard it, that acceptance of spiritual master must be selected. You see, after careful examination, just like one selects his bride or bridegroom after careful examination. And in India, they are very careful, because the marriage of the boys and girls take place under the guidance of the parents. So the parents very carefully see. So similarly, if one has to, the acceptance of spiritual master is necessary. According to Vedic injunction, everyone should have a spiritual master. Perhaps you have seen a sacred thread. We have got sacred thread. Mr. Cohen, you have this kind of sacred thread. That sacred thread is the sign that this person has his spiritual master. Has a spiritual master. Just like here, of course, there's no such distinction. A married girl, according to Hindu system, they have got some sign so that people can understand this girl is married. They put on a red, painting here, so that others know that this girl is married. And according to what is called this parting is also, there is some meaning. When the parting is here in the middle, then that girl has her husband and she is coming from respectable family. And if the, partition is here, then she is a prostitute. See, a prostitute cannot, there was king's ruling that a prostitute cannot part here. And then again, when a girl is well dressed, then it should be considered that she has got her husband at home. And when she is not well dressed, then it should be understood that her husband is out of home. You see, in a widow's dress, there are symptoms. So, similarly, this thread, sacred thread, is a sign that this person has accepted somebody as his spiritual master. He has got his, just like this red mark symbolizes that this girl has her husband. Similarly, this sacred thread is the symbol that this man has got his spiritual master. So there is a ceremony, you see? So according to Vedic system, one has to accept a spiritual master in order to make a solution of his life. In every step of his life, the spiritual master guides him. He also makes question to the spiritual master, and he guides him so that his life, his progress of life, may be systematic. Now, to take such guidance means the spiritual master should also be a very perfect man. Otherwise, how can he guide? Now, here Arjuna knows that Sri Krishna is the perfect person, so therefore he is accepting him as for. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now, I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please, instruct me. I am just surrendering unto you, yourself, and you accept me as your disciple, because friendly talks cannot make a solution of the perplexity. Friendly talks may be going on for years together, but there is no solution. Here, accepting Krishna as the spiritual master means whatever Krishna will decide, he has to accept. One cannot deny the order of a spiritual master. Therefore, one has to select a spiritual master whose order carrying, you'll not commit a mistake. You see, now suppose if you accept a wrong person as spiritual master, and if he guides you wrongly, then your whole life is spoiled. So one has to accept a spiritual master whose guidance will make his life perfect. That is the relation between spiritual master and disciple. It is not a formality. It is a great responsibility both for the disciple and for the spiritual master. And yes, but if the disciple is in ignorance before, yes, how does he know which master to choose? I mean, because he doesn't have the knowledge. Yes, young man too, to make a wise selection. Yes. So the first thing is that one should be searching after a disciple or searching after a spiritual master. Now, just like you search after some school, so when you're searching after some school, you must have at least some preliminary knowledge what a school means. You cannot search after a school and go to a cloth shop. If you are so ignorant that you do not know what is a school and what is a cloth shop, then it's very difficult for you. You must know at least what is a school. So that knowledge is like this. To understand these things properly, one must humbly approach, with firewood in hand, a spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. The spiritual master is required for a person who is inquisitive to have transcendental knowledge. He requires a spiritual master. You see? So there is another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tasmed Gurua Prapadyata Treya Uttamam. Therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities, who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual masters. Tasmad Gurua Prapadyeta. One should search after a spiritual master who is inquisitive about transcendental subject matter. So unless one is at least conversant with the preliminary knowledge of transcendental matter, that transcendental matter here you can see. Arjuna is perplexed, and now he wants a definite answer. This is the inquiry about transcendental subject matter. So every human being has to inquire. The inquiry must be there. What is that inquiry? That inquiry is that preliminary that every human being is suffering. An ignorant man, just like a cat and dog or an animal, they are suffering, but they do not understand. Suffering they do not understand. Just like we have seen, of course here animals are slaughtered in slaughterhouse. According to Hindu system, of course, cow killing is not allowed. But there are meat eaters. So according to Hindu system, if anyone wants to eat meat, he should take a goat. According to Hindu system, only goats and lambs can be killed for meat eating, no other animal. No other animal. Cow is not forbidden. Just like in the Hindus, they do not eat cow's flesh. And the Muslims, they do not eat, hogs. Hog's flesh they do not eat. They have got some sentiment. But meat eating is also there in the Hindu society, but that is only by goat's meat or lamb's meat. Generally goat. Now, These goats are sacrificed before a goddess Kele. So I have seen it, that one animal is being killed, slaughtered, and the another animal, which will be slaughtered next, it has been given some grass, and it is standing there. You see, it has no knowledge that my next turn is mine, so it is not going away. So this is animal. A human being is not so fool. If there is sign that next time my killing is to be taken up, then at least he will protest or try to go away, something like that. You see? But there is no such thing. So the distinction between animal and man is that that animal is not aware of the sufferings he is undergoing. There are sufferings both for the animals and for the man, but man is conscious. If a man is not awakened to his suffering, then he is in animal consciousness. So should not forget that we are always under suffering. There are three kinds of sufferings. I don't say about this economic problem, or that is also another suffering, but according to Vedic knowledge, or it is a fact, there are three kinds of sufferings. One kind of suffering belonging to the body and the mind. Now suppose I'm getting some headache. Now I'm feeling very warm, I'm feeling very cold, and so many bodily sufferings there are. Similarly, we have got sufferings of the mind. My mind is not well today. Somebody has called me something, so I am suffering. Or I have lost something, or some friend, so many things. So sufferings of the body and mind, and then sufferings by the nature. This is called adhidaivika, which we have no control. In every suffering we have no control, especially, suppose there is heavy snowfall. The whole New York City is flooded with the snow, and we are all put into inconvenience. That's a sort of suffering. But you have no control. You cannot stop snow falling. You see? If there is wind, cold wind, you cannot stop it. This is called adhidaivika suffering. And the suffering of the mind and suffering of the body is called adhyatmika. And there is other sufferings, adhibautika, attack by other living being, my enemy, some animal or some worm, so many. So these three kinds of sufferings are there always. Always, but we do not want all these sufferings. When this question comes, now here Arjuna is conscious that there is a fight, and it is my duty to fight with the enemy, but there is suffering because they are my kinsmen. So he's feeling that. So unless a human being is conscious and awakened to the fact that we are always in suffering, but we do not want all these sufferings, this question, such a person is required to approach a spiritual master when he is conscious. You see? So long he is animal-like that he does not know that he's always in suffering. He does not know, he does not care, or he does not want to make a solution. Here Arjuna is suffering, and he wants to make a solution, and therefore he accepts a spiritual master. So when we are conscious of our sufferings, we are awakened to the suffering situation. Suffering is there. Forgetfulness or ignorance of suffering is no meaning. Suffering is there, but when one is very serious to make a solution of his suffering, then a spiritual master required. Just like Arjuna requires now a spiritual master. Is it clear? Yes, so that suffering is there. It does not require any education, simply a slight thinking that I don't want all these suffering, but I am suffering. Why? Is there any solution? But there is solution. All these scriptures, all these Vedic knowledge, everything. And not only Vedic knowledge now. Oh, why you're going to school? Why? You are going to college. Why? You are taking scientific education. Why? You are taking law education. Everything is meant for ending our sufferings. If there was no suffering, then nobody would have taken education. You see, but he thinks that if I'm educated, if I become a doctor, or if I become a lawyer, or if I become an engineer, I will be happy. Happy. That is the ultimate aim. I will get a good job, government job. I'll be happy. So happiness is the end of pursuance. But these mitigation of sufferings, they are temporary. Real suffering is due to this material existence. These three kinds of suffering. So when one is conscious about his sufferings, and he wants to make a solution of this suffering, then there is necessary of a spiritual master. Now, if you want to make a solution of your sufferings, and you want to consult a person, now what sort of person you must meet who can end your all sufferings? That selection must be there. If you want to purchase a jewel and a diamond and very valuable thing, and if you go to a grocer's shop, such kind of ignorance, you must be cheated. You must be cheated. At least you must approach to a jewelry shop. Jewelry shop, you see? So much knowledge you must have. So is that question solved? Yes. The necessity of a spiritual master is for him who is conscious of his material sufferings. If one is not conscious of his material sufferings, then he is not even on the human being status. He's still in the animal status. Animal status, you see? Now the modern civilization is practically, they are evading the real sufferings. They are engaged in temporary sufferings. But the Vedic system is Vedic knowledge. They are meant for ending the sufferings for good. You see, the human life is meant for that, ending all sufferings. Of course, we are trying to end all kinds of sufferings. Our business, our occupation, our education, our advancement of knowledge, everything is meant for ending suffering. But that suffering is temporary, but we have to end the sufferings for good. Suffering, that sort of knowledge, is called transcendental knowledge. And if anyone is seeking after that transcendental know, this Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary thing. It is transcendental knowledge. And now here the ground is prepared. Arjuna is conscious of his suffering, perplexity. Now he is seeking a spiritual master. So the should take the position of Arjuna, disciple. When a disciple is serious about making a solution of the suffering, then he requires a spiritual master. And what sort of spiritual master? Krishna, the most perfect man. So a spiritual master is representative of Krishna. Of course, Krishna is not present before us, but at least we must have a person as our spiritual master who represents Krishna. And who can represent Krishna? One who is devotee of Krishna in the line disciplic succession. See here, Arjuna accepts Krishna as the spiritual master. Now, question may be that why Arjuna? There was many learned men, not only Krishna, but there were Vyasadeva and other great sages and Brahmayas. Why? Krishna was also Kshatriya. Krishna was not a Brahmaya. Of course, he took his mean. He appeared in the family of a Kshatriya, and they were cousin brothers. Krishna and Arjuna, they were cousin brothers. Krishna was the son of the brother, and Arjuna was the son of the sister. Arjuna's mother and Krishna's father, they were brother and sister. So they are in the family relation. They were intimately related, and at the same time, they were of the same age and friends. Now the question may be, why Krishna is accepted as the spiritual master? That is the selection of the disciple, that Arjuna says, I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty like that of the demigods in heaven. Now he says that I am so perplexed that my lamentation cannot be satisfied even if I get the kingdom of the universe. I am going to fight for the kingdom only of this earth, or the India. Of course, formerly India means Bharata. Now India is a name given by the foreigners. The real name of this planet is Bharatavarnya, this planet. Now gradually it has been cut up. Just like we have got immediate experience that some portion of India is now cut up, and that is named Pakistan. Similarly, this whole planet 5,000 years before, this whole planet was known as Bharatavarnya. And before that, thousands and millions of years before, this planet was known as Ilavotavarnya. And now, since the time of Emperor Bharata, there was an emperor whose name was Bharata. So from the name of Bharata, this planet's name became Bharatavarnya. So up to 5,000 years before. Why 5,000 years before? Say up to 4,000 years before. Although the modern history cannot give chronological account, more than 2,500 years. But we are speaking about 4,000 years before. This planet was called Bharatavarnya. Now, Arjuna says that we are going to fight for the matter of this Bharatavarnya planet. This is one of the planet in the universe. But if I get the whole planets of this, the complete planets of this universe, and without any competitor still, the perplexity which has arisen in my mind, that cannot be mitigated. So, now see what sort of responsibility is given to the Krishna. Now Saijaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Just saying this, Arjuna became silent. Oh, I cannot fight. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling, in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Now here Krishna is addressed as Honkecha. Honyakesa, we should always remember that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is present as incarnation. Now God is all-powerful. God is all-powerful. So if he comes before you, you cannot deny that. How is that? God has come. You cannot say that. If God is all-powerful, then it is his choice. It is his free will. He can come before you, provided you are such qualified devotee. So there cannot be any solid argument that God cannot come or God. Of course, so far Vedic literatures are concerned, they accept the incarnation of God. So Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and so he is addressed as Honyakecha. Honyaketsa, it has got a significant meaning. Honyeka means the senses, and Asa means Lord. Asa means Lord, so he is the Lord of the senses. He is the Lord of the senses. Similarly, Govinda. Here also Govinda name is also there. Yes. Nayotsya iti Govindam uktva tunya babhuvaha. Govinda, go means also senses. Go means cow, go means land, and go means sense. And Inda means pleasure, one who gives pleasure to the cow, one who gives pleasure to the land, one who gives pleasure to the senses. So his name is Govinda. Now two names are used here. So we should try to understand what is the meaning of Honyakecha. Honyeka means Indriya and Esa means Lord. So whatever senses we have got, the proprietor of the senses, not myself. The proprietor of the senses is God. Just like we are sitting in this room. This room is allotted for our sitting under some consideration of rent or whatever it may be. But this room is not ours. That's a fact. We should not consider that I am the proprietor of the room. Although I am using it to my heart's desire as I like, that is a different thing. But as soon as there is some misunderstanding or the landlord says, now you cannot room in this room. Vacate, I have to vacate. You see? Similarly, this is also just like room, our body. This body is given to us by God under certain condition. And as soon as God likes that, you should vacate from this body. I have to vacate. Nobody can allow us to stay here. And besides that, just like my hand, this hand. Now suppose if this hand is paralyzed. The power of this hand is so long there's power from the Supreme. Otherwise, if my hand is paralyzed, there is no remedy. There is no remedy. You see, so we are not the owner of this body, not the owner of the senses. The senses are just like hired from the Supreme Lord. This is a very subtle understanding. One should know. So therefore, actually, the proprietor of the senses is God. Now, if I am the proprietor of this tape recorder, then it should be utilized for my purpose. Anything which I own, that should be utilized for my purpose. Your things should be utilized for your purpose. So if God is the proprietor of our senses, then these senses must be used for God's purpose. That is the constitutional position. That is the constitutional position. Now, when these senses are used for other than God's purpose, that is bondage, conditioned life. When the senses are purified and it is used for God's purpose, that is natural life. That is natural life. So whole trouble is that although our senses and everything, whatever we have got, there is esopanyad, a part of Veda. It is stated there that Havasyam ida sarvam, everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Everything, whatever you see, that belongs to God. That belongs to God. Now, it is our misunderstanding that we are claiming, all the people of the world they are claiming as proprietor. Now, just like this American land, now you are claiming as the proprietor. But is it a fact? Actually, are you proprietor? Eh? Now, say some hundreds and hundreds years when Columbus came, so there were no Americans here, and so you were not proprietor. The land was there. Now, when you shall go away, the land will also be there. So the land belongs to God and everything. Now we say that we have manufactured this typewriter. Now, this typewriter, the now ingredient, the iron, have we manufactured iron? No, iron is received from the mines. It is given by God. Nobody can manufacture iron. Nobody can manufacture anything. They can transform from one thing to another. They can bring out the iron from the mine. They can melt, and they can transform the shape of the metal in a different way. So that they can do, but they cannot produce iron. They cannot produce anything. Wood, iron, earth, anything, whatever. So real proprietor is God. Real proprietor is God, everything. Echavesam asarvam. This is God consciousness. This is God consciousness. One who is in God consciousness, he is a perfect man. He is a perfect man. So here, the significant woe descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Now Krishna is smiling. Krishna is smiling because Krishna is smiling. Just see, Arjuna is such a hero. He is my friend, and now he is so much perplexed. Now when he sat down and he, Arjuna, accepted Krishna as the spiritual master, now Krishna begins to speak, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, here the book does not say Krishna Uvacha. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now, we should understand what is the meaning of Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulence. There are 6 kinds of opulences. Yes, so what are these opulences? Wealth is opulence. Then strength is opulence. Then full wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. These are the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Strength and fame. Fame is also opulence. And just like Lord Jesus Christ, the whole Christian world knows. Lord Krishna, everyone knows. Or apart from them, President Johnson. Now the whole America and the whole world knows who is President Johnson. Mahatma Gandhi, the famous. So fame is also opulence. And nobody knows me, but he is also a person. He is known throughout the whole world. So this is an opulence. Just like your Rockefeller. They are very rich, so everyone knows in the world. So they are opulent by wealth. Similarly, somebody is opulent by fame, and somebody is opulent by strength. And so strength is opulence, wealth is opulence, and fame is opulence. And then beauty. Beauty is also opulence. If one man or woman is very beautiful, he attracts persons. He attracts. So anything that attracts, that is called opulence. A wealthy man attracts. A strong man attracts. A famous man attracts. If somebody, famous man, comes here, oh, so many people will gather to receive him. So these are opulences: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. 6 things. Anyone who possesses all these 6 opulences in full, he is God. That is the definition of God. Anyone. When Krishna was present on this earth, he showed his opulences in full. Opulences in full. Of course, we have got all these historical records about him. Now, so far his wealth is concerned, he had 1,608 wives. And for each of them, he built a palace. And all those palaces were so nicely built that there was no need of electricity or light. It was bedecked with jewels, so day and night they were, blazing. You see, so these descriptions are there, but if we forget that he is God, then this will be something like story, that how a man can marry 16,000 wives. But we should always remember that he is God. He is all-powerful. For no other person such historical records are there, only for Krishna. So, in strength also nobody could conquer him, and beauty, far beauty is concerned, when he was on the battlefield. Have you seen any picture of Krishna? Have you seen? Oh, no, of course. Any one of you have seen Krishna? Krishna, when he was present in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, at that time he was about 90 years old. 90 years old. He had his great-grandchildren. He married 16,000 wives, and each wife had 10 children. And those 10 children, they also got each 10-12 children. And they had children also. Because he was at that time 90 years old, he got at that time great-grandchildren also. So his family was very great. Now, if you see the picture of Krishna, you'll see him just like a boy of 22, 25 years old. He was so beautiful. He was so beautiful. Then, that is the sign of God. It is stated in Brahma Sahita, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purunya. Yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. He is the original person. Because from God everyone has born, therefore he is the original person. Idiom. Pureya Purunyam. Pureya means the oldest person. Still Navayauvanasya. Whenever you will see God, this is the sign of God. You'll find him just like a youth, a new youth. Youthfulness means, say, 16 to 24 years. So Navayauvana, that is the sign of God. So he was so beautiful that when he was a boy of 15 years old, of the same age girls of his age, they were after him. He was so beautiful. So in beauty, he was super excellent. In wealth, he was super excellent. In strength, he was super excellent. And in knowledge, now here is a book, Bhagavad Gita. Now, apart from other books, other knowledge which he imparted to other Now here is a book which was imparted to Arjuna. Now, it is so the depth of knowledge that people are still considering great scholars. We're not reading, but Dr. Radhakrishnan, one of the greatest scholars of the world, now he's the president of India, he's discussing. Professor Einstein, he was living here in America. He was a German Jew, and I think he was living in America. He was a great student of this Bhagavad Gita. Hitler was a great student of Bhagavad Gita, and there were many scholars still reading Bhagavad Gita, trying to understand. Just see what best depth of knowledge he has given. It is made by Krishna. So in knowledge, in wealth, in strength, in beauty, and in everything he was opulent. Therefore he is Bhagavan. You cannot accept any ordinary man as Bhagavan. So therefore Bhagavan. Now Bhagavan Uvacha, and because he has been accepted as the spiritual master, just like a teacher has the right to sometimes rebuke the student, so in the first instance he is rebuking Arjuna in the following words, that the Blessed Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. That Arjuna, you are speaking just like a very great learned man, but you are, in other words, you are a fool. You do not know how things are going on, because Pawitu, those who are learned men, they would not have lamented just like you are doing. That means indirectly, he says, Pawitu means learned. Learned man does not lament over a dead body or a living body. Gatasan agatacha, asan means life. One has lost his life, and one has got his life, a body, living body, and a dead body. Living body and a dead body. Just mark the point that a learned man, as you are lamenting over the subject of killing your friends and relatives, but a learned man would not have lamented like this. That means you are a fool. When he says, just like if I say, Mr. Green, what you have done, any intelligent man should not have done this. So this is indirectly saying that you are not intelligent. It is in a gentleman's way, speaking that, Mr. Green, what you are doing, no intelligent man can do this. That means you are not intelligent. So here he says that you are lamenting over the bodies of your relatives, because in the fight you are considering that my friends and my relatives will be killed. So that means they are living bodies, and you are lamenting over their killing. So this sort of lamentation is never done by a learned man. A learned man never does it. Gatasun agatascha nanuchochanti paito. Those who are learned, one who is learned, he does not lament over the body, either a living body or dead body. There is no question of. Now, because one who knows the distinction between the body and the soul, firmly just like you have heard the name of Socrates. Soc, a great philosopher, Greek philosopher, he believed in the immortality of soul. So he was punished in the court. Hemlock was offered to him, that all right, if you believe the immortality of soul, then you drink this hemlock poison. So he drank, because he was firmly convinced that even if I drink this poison, my body will be destroyed. But by destruction of my body, I'm not going to be destroyed. He was convinced, so he did not lament. So a Payoita, learned man, must know that this body and soul, the distinction, the difference between body and soul. The body is not soul and the soul is not body, and one who knows, he is learned man. This instruction is given first. So for spiritual advancement, this first knowledge that the body and the soul is different. This body cannot be identified with the soul. You see, the soul is there, but body is not soul. Body is not soul. So every learned man knows it, and we should be. I think we can stop here. Bhagavad Gita 2.11, March 4th, 1966, New York. Bhagavad Gita 2.11. So Krishna is in this sen. He's identified that Bhagavan means that nobody can surpass his knowledge. Because I have already given the definition of Bhagavan, that a personality who is in full all the opulences, wealth, strength, fame and knowledge, beauty and renunciation, he is God. You see, so now in this, at the present moment, when people are godless, I think this definition is convincing. If you find out a personality that one who has got in full all these opulences, he is God, then it will be very difficult to present an ordinary man as God. You see, you will find that in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was convinced that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, but because in future others will have doubt about Krishna, he requested Krishna that, will you show me your universal form? And Krishna agreed and showed him the universal form. That means in future, any intelligent man accepting a so-called God may also ask him, just show something that you are God. Without showing something, simply by false advertisement, one cannot be God. So whole mistake is that we do not know what is God. We consider God may be just like one of us. No, the God who is controlling such a huge affairs of universal administration, he cannot be. He is superconscious. That is superconsciousness. Now here, asocien anvachokas tva pravedas kabanyase. The blessed Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. Now, the whole living existence is a very subtle thing. Now this body made of earth, water, fire, air, sky, this gross body, and behind this there is another subtle body. That is mind, intelligence, and ego. So when we give up this gross body, that subtle body carries me to another gross body. So when this body is lifeless, that body, subtle body, is not lifeless. Just like at night, when this gross body is asleep, the subtle body works. Therefore we dream. So subtle body carries to next life. And I have given in the introduction that how one man changes his body. Yaya vapi smaran loka tyajati ante kalevaram. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Now the subtle body, I mean to say mind, intelligence, and ego, when these three things, psychic life, is absorbed in a certain kind of thought, the dying man gets a similar body in the next life. That we shall come when we make progress in the study of Bhagavad Gita. Just like the air passing over the rose tree carries the flavor of the rose, and the air passing over a filthy place carries the flavor of that filthy place. The air is pure, but because it is passing over certain condition, it carries the flavor. Similarly, the mind, intelligence, and ego carries the flavor of our present activities to the next life. That is the subtle mystery of transmigration of the soul from one body to another. Now if this life we purify just like rose, the next life we shall get a body which is full of flavor. If in this life, if we practice devotion of God, then next life is to become the associate of God. That Sintamai Prakara Sadmasu. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of lakmes or gopes. We are transferred to that planet. You see, these are simple things. The whole thing is in my hand. If I want to be degraded, I can prepare myself in this life for such degradation in the next life. And if we want to elevate ourselves to the highest perfection of life, as to become one of the associates of God, we can prepare ourselves like that. You'll find in the advanced chapters that Yenti Deva Vrata Devan Piten Yenti Pito Vratao 9:25. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. Now we are trying to go to the moon planet. Now here, in this life, if we cultivate ourselves for the same thought, the moon planet, that means the moon planet, about moon planet we have to hear. And we have to think that I shall go in such and such place. I shall, unless you hear, you cannot abide here. Just like our friend Mr. Cohen, he has left for California. Now so far I am concerned, I have no idea of California. Now he has told me that after reaching there, he'll write about the description of the place. Now suppose if, reading that description of the place, I think of going there, so I prepare myself, oh, I must go there. So just like I was describing that Sintamai Dhamma, what sort of trees are there? And you were very much pleased that I must go there. So we have to hear, unless we hear what sort of God he is, what sort of God's place is, what is the mode of life there, we cannot be attracted. We cannot be attracted. So here they say that Gatsan Agadasatsa are two sort of bodies in which we are now entered. Now, suppose this gross body appears to be now dead and gone, stopped, but one must know that subtle body has carried him to another body. So, subtle body is not lost life. Life is there. So, here Krishna says that either of the gross body or of subtle body has to be also left. When you get liberation, that subtle body, that egoistic life has also to be left. Now, at any condition, the body has to be left. So, why one should cry for this body? Therefore, Krishna says that a learned man does not lament over this body. The whole question that a soul is different from this body, the whole question is solved in one verse. You, Sigatasan, agatach cha nenu chochanti paoi tu. The Blessed Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. One who is actually learned, he has no concern of this body. He's concerned with the activities of the soul. So you're speaking of so many things that if these my friends die, their wives will become widow. These are all according to the bodily relation you are speaking. And you are posing yourself just like a very learned man, but you are a fool, number one, because your whole conception is on the body. Your whole conception of argument with me was of the body, but you are posing himself just as if you are a very learned man. So anyone who has got conception, the identification of this body, he's not a learned man, he's a fool. He may be in the calculation of academic education, he may be BA, MA, PhD, DAC, or something like doctors, but if he has got his identification with this body, he's not a learned man according to Bhagavad Gita. Not only according to whole Vedic literature. This is the first instruction. If we want to make progress towards spiritual advancement of knowledge, this preliminary knowledge we must have, that I am not this body. I am not this body. This is the preliminary standing of spiritual knowledge. This is not advancement. This is simply ABCD of spiritual life. In the Bhagavad, there is a very nice verse in this connection, in which it is stated, one who identifies his self as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. Yasyat mabui triedatuke. Kuape means this bag made of 3 elements. Now, according to Ayurvedic medical system, this body is made of 3 elements, kapha, pitta, vayu. Kapha, pitta, vayu. What do you call? Cough. Yes, pitta, coldness, heat and air, coldness, heat and air. Yes, only these 3 things constitute this body. Therefore, it is called a bag made of 3 elements, coldness, air, and fire, heat. Heat, coldness, and air. This body's made. Water, fire, and air. Now, the Bhagavata says that Yashetma Buddhu Kutridatuke. If anyone, he's identified with this body made of water, air, and fire. And Yashetma Buddhu Kwadatuke. This is a body made of 3 things. Now, and if one thinks the issues, the byproducts of this body as his own kinsman, just like my children, my wife, my relatives, my father, my mother, my brother, my nation, my society, everything is due to this bodily relation. And there are thousands of women loitering in the street of the New York, and suppose I have got some bodily connection with you. I call you my wife. And because I have got bodily relation with you, all the children produced by you, they are my children. You see, so whole thing is, the basic principle is wrong, that I am this body. Now, from the expansion of the body, the whole thing is false. Because I am not this body, so my expansion of body is also not I am. But whole world is going on this false impression. The whole world is going on. The fighting between one nation and another nation. Because due to this body, so Yashatma Buddhu Kuapatri Datuke. One who is identified with this body, which is made of water, fire, and air, and the issues from this body as kinsmen and own men. Yasyatma Buddhu Kuapatri that, and, attachment for such issues, and the land from which this body has grown up, that is worshipable. Now everybody is fighting for the land. Oh, we are Indian, we are Pakistani, we are Vietnamese, we are American, we are German. The fighting, so much fighting is going on, the land, for the land. So land has become worshipable, so worshipable that one has sacrificed his valuable life for that land. You see? But the land is so dear, why? This body has become grown up from this land. So that is also there, the bodily connection. So, Yashyatma Buddhu Kuape Tridatuke Svadhala Trednyu Bauma Ijadeu. Bauma, in the land, they have no meaning for God. Now, the Russian philosophy, they have no meaning for God, but they have every meaning for their land. So, land has their identified as worshipable, and they're prepared to sacrifice anything for the land. So yasyatma buddhiyu kuape tridatuke, one who is identified with this body, and one who thinks the bodily offshoots as his own men, and the land from which the body has grown as worshipable. Yat tertha buddhiyu salile. Yat tertha buddhiyu salile. Now, in Christian world also, that the water of the Jordan River is sacred is considered. Similarly, Hindus also, when they go to some pilgrimage, they take bath on the sacred river. But one should know that going to the sacred place does not mean simply to take bath in that water. Real meaning of going to a sacred place, to find out some intelligent scholar in spiritual knowledge, they are living there. To make association with them, to take knowledge from them, that is the purpose of going to pilgrimage. Because in pilgrimage, holy places, just like my residence is at Vrindavana. So at Vrindavana there are many great scholars and saintly persons living. So one should go to such holy places, not simply to take bath in the water, but he must be intelligent enough to find out some spiritually advanced man living there and take instruction from him and be benefited by that. But he does not go. He takes simply bath and purchases some goods and advertises, "Oh, I have been to such and such pilgrimage." Well, yasyatma buddhu kuetatuke and yat tertha buddhu salilina karhichi jeni babijienu. He has the attachment for pilgrimage, for taking bath only, but he has no attraction for the learned people there. You see, such kind of man is considered as ass, sevagokaro, tutin. One, who identifies his self as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. Gokara. Gokara. Go means cow or Khara means ass. So practically the whole world is moving as the civilization of cow and asses, because the whole thing is identification with this. The center is this body, an expansion of the body, the attraction, whole attraction is there. Yes, you want to, just like at Vrindavana. At Vrindavana, that is practical. Now here I am sitting New York, a very great, the world's greatest city, so magnificent city, but my heart is always hankering after that Vrindavana. I shall be very happy to return to my Vrindavana, that sacred place. But then why you are? Now because it is my duty, I have brought some message for you people. Because I am ordered by Superior, my spiritual master, that whatever you have learned, you should go to the Western country, and you must distribute this knowledge. So in spite of all my difficulties, all my inconveniences, I am here because I am in duty. That is my personal convenience. If I go and sit down at Vrindavana, I shall be very comfortable there, and I'll have no anxiety, nothing of the sort. You see? But I have taken all the risk in the old age because I am in duty bound. I am in duty bound, so I have to execute my duty in spite of all my inconveniences. That is the idea. So this is the whole thing. The whole basic principle of spiritual advancement of knowledge. One should first be convinced that he is not this body. He is not this body. Then other spiritual knowledge will begin. This is the basic principle. You'll find it. You'll find it in the Bhagavad Gita that this situation of spiritual life is called Brahma Bhuto, Brahman. So, and of all yogas, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So that unless one understands himself, he also cannot understand God also. In his misunderstanding position. Now, what Dr. Mishra is teaching is very nice because he is teaching that just first of all, you know what I am, that's very good. And I have given you the definition of Bhagavan, that he is all knowledge. So whatever he will speak Bhagavan, there cannot be any mistake. For ordinary persons, there are four difficulties, four imperfectness. Just like we are ordinary man, we have got four imperfectness. What is that imperfectness? That we must commit mistake. We must commit mistake. Our constitutional position at the present moment is such that we are sure to commit mistake. Even greatest politician like Gandhi, he committed mistake. And so many great men, they committed mistake. To err is human, therefore it is called that any man, however he may be great in the estimation of this world, he is sure to commit mistake. And another imperfection is that he is illusioned. Illusioned. Now illusioned, you can see. Illusioned means taking one thing for another. That is called illusion. just like in the desert, accepting the sand as water. That is called illusion. Similarly, every one of us who are identified with this body, he's under illusion. But that's the false thing. But he has no knowledge. Even President Johnson, he's under illusion. Even the greatest scientist, he's under this illusion. So that one is sure to commit mistake, and one is under illusion, and Brahma, Pramada, and Vipralipsa. Vipralipsa means the tendency for cheating. That is the third. First is that one is sure to commit mistake, one is sure to be an illusion, and one is adapted to cheat others. Now, he is imperfect, but he wants to give knowledge to others. That is cheating. Everyone is imperfect, but he wants to give knowledge to others. Then you can ask that you are also giving us knowledge. No, I'm not giving you knowledge. I am speaking Bhagavad Gita. I am giving you knowledge as given by Lord Krishna. It is not my knowledge. I give you cheat. No, that is also in the definition of a conditioned soul. These four principles are there. It is not my manufactured things. These are information from authoritative scripture, that a conditioned soul has four imperfectness. One imperfectness is that he's sure to commit mistake. He's illusioned, and he has got a tendency to cheat. And above all, his senses are imperfect. So anyone who is above all these four imperfectness, who never commits mistake, who is never illusioned, who never cheats other, and who has got perfect senses, he is God. That is also another definition of God. He may not be. God is supreme, God, but anyone who comes to this stage of life, he's liberated as good as God.